Now the details. First Lady Intisar Sisi affirmed that the world's celebration of International Children's Day reflects the great importance of caring for children. On her official page, she wrote, "Children are the generation of tomorrow, the builders of the future, and the most precious thing that every country has. They have rights that should be enjoyed without discrimination, which is what the state cares about continuously, the preservation of the rights of children." End quote. Foreign Minister Semah Shukri participates in the 17th round of the Regional Security Summit Panorama Dialogue. The ministry spokesperson, Ambassador Ahmad Hafiz, said that Shukri participates as an official speaker on regional security as he gives a speech on the multilateral frameworks and their development, in addition to its role in dealing with challenges witnessed by the regional and international environment during the last decades. On the sidelines of his participation, Shukri will also meet a number of ministers and top officials to discuss the most prominent regional issues and exchange points of view regarding different challenges in the region and means of developing mechanisms to face these challenges. In his comments in Bahrain at the annual Panorama Dialogue, America's top defense official vowed Saturday to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon and to counter its dangerous use of suicide drones in the wider Middle East, a pledge coming as negotiations remain stalled over Tehran's tattered atomic deals with world powers. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin appeared aimed at reassuring America's Gulf Arab allies as the Biden administration tries to revive a nuclear deal which limits Iran's enrichment of uranium in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. Austin told an event put on by the International Institute for Strategic Studies that the United States remains committed to preventing Iran from gaining a nuclear weapon. He added that the U.S. remains committed to a diplomatic outcome for the nuclear issue. His comments also touched on the ongoing war in Yemen, for which the Biden administration halted its offensive support shortly after he came into office. Back home, convoys of the Decent Life Initiative loaded with humanitarian aid arrived in Aswan Governorate on Saturday to distribute food aid to citizens affected by the bad weather that hit the governorate last week. The convoys are in partnership with the Egyptian Food Bank. This comes within the framework of the permanent keenness of the initiative to provide means of a decent life to citizens and support them in times of crisis. The initiative has previously announced through its official pages a donation campaign for the people of Aswan to support those affected by the floods and whose homes were destroyed. It's worth mentioning that the Decent Life Initiative has offered a number of projects such as Himaya or the Protection Initiative, as well as others. It has also launched many convoys in various governorates nationwide since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Prince Charles of Wales and his wife Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, concluded their visit to Egypt and left after a two-day period. Earlier, Pope Tawadros II, the Pope of Alexandria, received Prince Charles. The meeting tackled a number of issues, including climate change. The meeting is the second of its kind since Prince Charles received His Holiness Pope Tawadros in London in May of 2017. Prince Charles also attended activities of an initiative dubbed Sustainable Markets of Young Entrepreneurs at the Greek campus in Cairo's Tahrir Square. The Prince was received by the Minister of Environment, Yasmin Fouad, and was briefed on the experiences of the leading business persons on their innovative projects. Prince Charles also met representatives of giant British corporations and discussed with them their activities in Egypt, particularly in the environmental field. Prince Charles also attended activities of another initiative funded by the British Embassy, which largely contributes to promoting the business atmosphere for young entrepreneurs. Meanwhile, the Duchess of Cornwall, Camilla, visited Brook Animal Hospital. She toured the hospital, held a brief dialogue with its doctors, and hailed the hospital's operations. The Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall also visited the Jesuit Cultural Center and Biblioteca Alexandrina in the city of Alexandria. Egypt's coronavirus cases recoveries rose to 290,671 after more than 719 patients were discharged from hospitals in the last 24 hours. Reviewing the daily tally on the domestic viral caseload, the Ministry of Health reported 892 new infections and 31 new deaths. The figure brings the total number of infected people to 347,719, including the mentioned recoveries and fatalities to 19,811. The United States is moving